Today I'm going to look at Bunkai out of Pinan Three. And as always, I like to open your mind. All right, and that begins, of course, with the notion of a block is a lock, is a blow, is a throw. So a block isn't just a block. It's also a blow. It's also a throw. It's also a lock. So we'll look at that as we go today. You need to get excited because every one of these kata is enough for a whole system in itself. And in many regards, you could say that that's what kata are. What they are is a complete fighting system within themselves. And if you extrapolate, seek the hidden meaning behind things, then you'll find a whole lot. So I want to look at that today. Now, always when you're working kata, don't forget to keep in mind key principles, fundamental principles. And, use those principles as a guideline to your own research. So the question always arises, can you learn kata from the internet? Well, no, you can't. But yes, you can learn a lot once you understand the kata. You can use the fundamental principles as the guiding stream to find the hidden meaning. Think in terms of 5 ranges: kick range, punch range, headbutt elbow range, stand-up grapple range, and ground range. Stand-up grapple can also be the gyakute. Gyakute is a Japanese word. We hear about all the time, the gyakute techniques, and it's often translated as hand-hold reversals. But the fact of the matter is it's just grappling. The difference between gyakute and normal grappling, I would say, is simply that normal grappling can be initiated by you. You can start off. Look, let me show you something quickly. This is one way that you can see, face me and shape up. This is one way that you can see how to initiate the grapple. Okay? Remember, the 5 ranges, each range trumps the range before it. So kick range is trumped by the punch range. Punch range is trumped by the headbutt elbow range. You know that because boxers under pressure will move in closer ranges. The headbutt elbow range is trumped by the stand-up grapple, and the stand-up grapple range is trumped by taking someone to the ground. Okay? So gyakute, the word gyakute means reversing hands. So basically what it means is Scotty grabs my wrist, okay, and I'm breaking out of that, moving in, maybe coming in, working a technique that I can use from there. But the difference between gyakute grappling and I would say tekumi grappling, if you like, if you want to put a Japanese word to it, people like to put Japanese labels on things, is this. For gyakute to work, he needs to grab me so that I can work the technique. For tekumi or for normal grappling, I can initiate. I can be the one to initiate the entrance into the grappling range. That's the only difference that I can really think of in terms of what the difference between the word gyakute in Japanese, what it really means. One of the things that I love about this kata is it teaches the transition, the weight transition from back stance, normal back stance, and forward again. Back stance, kokutsu. Kokutsu. Kokutsu dachi. Ko means back. Ushiro geri. Ushiro geri is the same kanji. Ushiro, back. Geri, back kick. Kokutsu, back tendency or back leaning or weight tending to the back. So generally speaking, when you're moving backwards, you're defending. You're in a defensive stance. But if you move back in the wrong way, all it takes is one finger to push you over. I'm really, really adamant about this. Shout out to Kylie Baker. This is the best teacup I've ever received. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. The general concept of a back stance is that I go like this. I'm trying to do it that way, but I haven't done it that way for years. So often you'll see guys, they'll start here and they'll go, boom, like this. But if I do that, but what I'm getting at is this. My weight is centered, my weight is back. If Scotty just puts his hand on my hand and starts to walk towards me, I have zero resistance. Weight centered, weight back. Even if the stance is deep, he puts his hand on my shoulder this time and just gently walks towards me. I have zero resistance. Okay? What you need to realize is that every back stance has a forward movement. So if you watch when I do it this time, what I do is I come in here, see that? My weight now is on this leg, and then I can withdraw. So that initial, if Scotty just walks towards me with his arm out. Wait, yep. I'm trying to explain this in a way that's easy to see. If Scotty walks towards me with his arm out and I go into back stance, I just get pushed over. But if he walks towards me and I do the back stance properly, as the arm comes out, I move forward. See that? Now I have resistance because my weight is actually forward here. Then I have the time to move back. Okay? Does that make sense? You never want to go from here, centered, to back. You want to go here, centered, forward, back. Okay? So if Scotty was to say, come in with a punch, I need to have my stance strong enough so that the weight of the punch doesn't knock me backwards. And this is the big drawback and the big criticism of back stance. The first thing that you get out of this kata is that transition of weight from back stance. The next thing is the use of the hikite. Because in the hikite, or the retracting hand in this kata, there are a few movements where the hikite actually turns into a strike. Okay? And you'll see the circular motion here too, where you can use it as an elbow, spin back elbow. Scotty was telling me, I didn't see it, but was it UFC on the weekend?
A couple of weeks ago.
A couple of weeks ago, it was a UFC and someone got knocked out with a spin back elbow. They're really effective. I was telling Scotty before that I used to use them a lot in kumite when I was past my prime, starting to get a little bit slower than guys 20 years younger than me, and I used to use the spin back elbow, and it would just work like a dream. Okay. The other thing too is Solsai talked about Kosaho. Kosaho is simultaneous attack and defense. And Uchi Uke Gedan Barai is a really good example of how you can use Kosaho. Double block, double strike, one block, one strike, one block, one strike. You can do either 2 strikes or a double block. I'll show you that as part of the bunkai in a second. And of course, using the legs for momentum is really, really beneficial. You'll get a real good feel for that, especially when you're on the ground, because let me show you how important momentum from the legs can be. And I'll just do it on the ground because it's the easiest way to do it. But if I'm on the ground and Scotty simply puts his hand here, not there, here.
Push.
Okay, puts his hand there. I need to do more sit-ups. Oh, I can't get past there. Okay, but now I use the momentum of the pendulum. And you see the difference? Okay, so without the momentum, if I'm here, Scotty's attacking, I try to get up without using my legs for momentum, I get nowhere. So I use my leg for momentum, and I just knock Scotty's hand straight out of the way. Well, the same happens in the kata, where you can do it, chop my head off there, you can do it with the movement in the kata that is like this. 1, 2. Now I can use that leg to drop my weight down, and it can either be against the grab, he grabs, and I can use the momentum to knock the hand out of the way, or I can use the momentum of my leg to lock his arm up for a throw. I'm trying to turn around. Boom. Or you can use that momentum to enter into the range for one of my favorite Bunkai applications of this technique here. 1, 2, here. Instead of throwing the front kick, I use the leg for momentum, and I come in here, and then I work the throw that way. And by using the leg for momentum there, it pulls me deep into range in a very sudden way that can catch them off guard. I'm just looking at these notes here, and I've got a note that says, question everything, but be respectful. So don't find yourself in a situation where you're in someone else's dojo, or you're taking a seminar or in a seminar, and they show you something that you don't think is very, you don't be disrespectful. But you always question everything. I have an acronym. Don't you love my acronyms? I'm always good with acronyms. TAAR. So that's test, assess, adjust, reassess. That's a really good approach to take with any technique. You test it, you assess it under different levels of compliance, and you make adjustments as necessary. Nothing works 100% of the time. Everything works in degrees. Another thing too, which I love about this kata, is that it's full of strikes to the neck. It's full of grabs. It's full of throws. It's full of transitions into the 5 ranges. It's very nice in that respect. Okay, and certain techniques will change according to the range. For example, shuto. Everyone knows shuto. That's shuto. If you ask 100 people, 100% of the time they go, yeah, that's shuto. But if I'm at a certain range here, that shuto works well. But what happens is, if I'm in here and Scotty rushes me, that shuto doesn't work because my shot. But the shuto extension is the one-to. Arm, forearm, ude, one, same word. To, same word. Shuto, hand, knife, one-to, arm, knife. So this edge here, as Scotty comes in, I can't hit with shuto anymore. As he comes in, boom, I can hit with the forearm, and it's just as effective, right?
Yes.
It really, there's nothing wrong with that. Another thing I love about this range is, what range is this? This is headbutt, elbow. So if I can hit, I go to hit, he comes in the range, my first reaction is, behind this arm, where he can't see, I hit with the elbow, like that. So remember that the range determines the techniques you use, and the same technique can differ. That's why you have a knee kick, simply because the range change. The same kick can be a knee to the body, a shin to the body, or even the toes. I used to use my toes when I was younger. I used to walk around the dojo, the wooden floor, on my toes like a ballet dancer. And then when I do kumite, I'd use the tip of my toes to kick, and it was very, very effective. Okay, so let's just have a look at a few bunkai. And please, nothing is gospel. The only thing that's gospel is question everything, test everything under pressure against a non-compliant opponent, start easy, build up slow, and then find someone you trust and work on it. Okay, because there's so much. I compare kata to encyclopedias. And, I wouldn't be surprised if Solsai actually described kata as encyclopedia. I think he described it as maybe a dictionary. Well, it's the same thing. The metaphor is the same. I use encyclopedia. Encyclopedias are full of unbelievable information, but the information is useless unless you apply it. Okay, so you can read a book on auto mechanics, but unless you actually get out there and start to work on cars, you're never going to get anywhere. So it's the same with kata. The kata are like a dictionary, or they're like an encyclopedia. They're full of amazing, amazing knowledge, but knowledge is useless unless it's applied. Then knowledge applied becomes experience. Okay, so you have to take what's in the kata and really decide, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to try and work 22, 30 kata and just get nowhere in all of them, or am I going to pick one or two? And so I'm always really adamant, you only have to pick one or two kata. Pick one kata that you really, really want to take deep, and the other kata is the kata you're currently learning for your current grading that you're heading for. Okay, so let's have a little bit of a look at the initial movement of the kata. Remember, one of the rules that you should always keep in mind is the line, the embu sen, the line is important, but don't get sucked into thinking that it's gospel. Okay? The other thing you have to keep in mind is that I'm not fighting multiple opponents, I'm fighting a single opponent. And even in the situation where there is multiple opponents, you're better off dealing with one at a time rather than try to deal with all of them. That can mean every now and then that you'll throw someone into a few people, or you'll throw and use him as a block against people. My buddy Nick Hughes, who's the one that I've mentioned, who wrote that fantastic book that is compulsory reading for everybody, How to Be Your Own Bodyguard. In fact, I'll write it down. I think he has a website, Nick Hughes. Go get it. It's fantastic. And in that, he describes his situation where he was confronted by 22 skinheads. I think it was three came, and then he knocked one of them out, and the others went, said, "We're coming back, we're going to get you." And he comes back with another 20 odd. And cut a long story short, by the time the police arrived, he'd maimed 5, knocked out another 8, and the other 9 ran. So he'd in the end of the day, he'd knocked out 13 people. The police didn't know what to charge them with because there was witnesses that said that he was just defending himself. They didn't know what to charge him with because they hadn't touched him. He hadn't had a mark. So anyway, he was saying that one of the things that happened was there were so many people that they were actually, all he had to do was just move a little bit and they were getting in their own way. Guys had come in and swing a piece of wood and he'd just move and it hit one of them. So you've got to take that into account too. Of course, when there's multiple attackers, they can be their own problem. And he even said, which I always think is funny, in Pinan 3, you've got that movement, last movement, you jump up here, move across. He said one of the things he had to do was jump over unconscious bodies to get to the next guy. I think that's pretty crazy. So anyway, the movement of the kata, notice I move my weight into the attack first so that I can withstand the force. That movement like that. So I'm here. 1, 2, 3. So there's the first few movements of the kata. Okay, so we can look, I'll ask Scotty to come in. We don't necessarily, I don't believe the idea of someone here, someone there, someone there. I believe that basically you're confronted by someone in front of you. Okay, now the first Bunkai application, remember all Bunkai are determined by, is he grabbing or is he striking? The Bunkai will change slightly depending on which one it is. So if I'm here and Scotty throws the punch, I'm going to move off, that's this, move. Okay, so throw, I don't want trouble, boom. So I'm here, I don't want trouble, boom. There's my first move. I move off the line, off the line. I don't want to stay here. Okay, I move, I turn, so I'm turning 90 degrees. It means I move off the line. Now this is where the next one can be. We go 1, 2, it can be a Kosaho. So I move, he throws the punch, 1. Look, this is the movement. Sorry. That's the movement. 1, and this one here protects against that. 2. If he was to throw that punch, again, it comes here, taps it down, and you can go there again. When you're in range, stay in range. Don't try to move out. Remember, it's the range that's closest that trumps. If I'm in here and I've moved in and I start to move out again, I'm giving him an opportunity to recover. Okay, so the first move is he's against the punch. I block the punch. I step in with the block here. Bang. I like to hit there first. You get the concussive blow on the neck. Once again, I'm there. 1, look. There. See that movement? 1, 2. And then that's that. there like this. From there, if you want, you can carry through for the throw this way, or you can carry through for the throw this way, or you can simply do what we did that time when we did the simple takedowns for karate guys. So I'm here, punch comes, move off, hit 2, 3, and what I can do is drive and tap. Drive and tap. Finish with the takedown. Remember, by moving in, I reduce his options. By moving in and putting my head on his chest, I reduce his options.
Puss.
If I move out, I've given him options back.
Puss.
Okay? So the first technique can be against a punch. It's just here, he throws the punch, I move off. See that? There, again. And remember, the two-hand movement is God. That's my favorite thing. So I don't know what he's going to do.
Puss.
So I need to keep my hands kind of together. So as I move off, oh, could be that one. See that? And then when I come in here, again, I can do the back fist there. Bang, like that. You have to respond to whatever they give. The next thing is, what happens if he grabs my lapel? So he grabs the lapel. Generally, if they're grabbing the lapel, they're going to punch you. And the thing about this is really good training to do. If Scotty hangs on real tight and stiffens his arm, makes his arm stiff. A stiff arm, we call that Archimedes over Newton. The lever of a stiff arm and using the bones, the leverage of the bones, is much stronger than a bent arm using muscles. If he's bent, now strengthen your arm. See, naturally he wants to straighten the arm, but if his arm is straight, I'm not going anywhere.
Puss.
So if he grabs me and starts raining punches upon me, there's not a lot I can do. I mean, it's really interesting to let go. Go to the dojo, grab someone, put a glove on, and just see what they can do as you rain punches on them with a stiff arm. And you're at the end, there's not a lot you can do. It's really uncanny how that can really play with your head. Okay, so what I need to do is, he grabs and punches, there's my block again. See that? 1. Let go for a sec. There's the block. There's the block. There's the block. And once again, look, hit there and hit there. I come in under. The other thing you can do is, he grabs, I move off the line. Straight away, 1, 2. I have to, then look, this is beautiful. If he's bent on keeping that lock, I'm going to come down, drop my weight, and then come back up again. And if he holds on, you can dislocate his shoulder. Even if he lets go, you can capture the shoulder. See that move? And then all I do is I take his head between him and me, and he finishes on the ground. So watch that again. I'll just do it slowly this time, because when I did it fast, then you probably didn't see all 17 punches. Scotty's laughing. Okay, so I'll do it slowly. The punch comes, punch me, boom. I have to move off the line.
Puss.
Okay, I can't stay on the line and think my karate is going to work. It might, but one day it's not. Okay, so I move off the line. See that? Make him miss. There's my block. That one, if I can, I'll break the grip, but if it's a strong grip, it's not going to work. Okay, this hand comes straight back, punch there, or I come over and drop my weight down on that grip. Now see if he hangs on tight. Hang on. He doesn't want to. Boom, see that? He's got the grip, but I've got his arm and I take his head between us.
Fingers caught.
Yeah, his fingers are caught. There, like that. Which is why judo guys will teach you never to grab with the forefinger.
Puss.
They'll grab with the little finger, because then the fingers don't get caught as easy. See that forefinger tends to float. So the grip is on the little finger. It's like Salso's grip. Strong grip starts with the little finger.
Puss.
Okay, if you grab with all 4 fingers, that's what happens. They get stuck in the gi.
Puss.
Okay, so slowly once again, step off, block the punch, 1, and I can hit down. And you can break the grip strongly there. There like that. So this is 1, 2, see this, 1, see the block? There's the block, but there's the Kosaho. I'm blocking this, blocking the arm, controlling the arm at the same time. Now what you can do is drop down in koken, drop down tetsui, drop down knife hand, drop down wanto. It's up to you which one you use, even uraken. Okay, so once again, he grabs, I move off. One, look, there, straight away. Or grab, one, this hand, same movement. Tyrone Tongia, my good friend, calls it be like seaweed. He grew up around the ocean. Be like seaweed. 1, 2. See that? So that movement, 1, 2, and you get that recoil. So also calls it circle and point.
Us.
First movement, 1, like that. Whoops, and then you can continue with the kick if you like.
Us.
Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, or you do it straight out of the kata. 1, 2, 3, like that. 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, that application works better for me anyway against the strike. Move there. Look, 1, 2, 3 in the groin. There. Look, 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. Okay, then go in, close the range. So that's that initial movement here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and the other thing I love about it is we're always taught to step back. This is one of the few techniques in all kata where you actually step forward into the stance. And it makes a lot of sense because I've retracted in defense, I'm moving forward in attack. So now when the punch comes, I move back, I move in range. See that? I have to be close enough to be in range. So that's a really important point. Step back into kokutsu, but I'm moving forward. And why do I come to my feet together? Because I couldn't perhaps stop there, but what I'm doing is kokutsu is deep. I'm coming up. Punch comes. Kokutsu is deep. I'm coming up. Okay? And then from there you have different techniques. We've gone, let me face this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoops. I stood on my mat. 1, 2, 3. There like that, and then step through. This is quite controversial. A lot of people say, well, it's a sweep or this or that. But the reality is under pressure against a non-compliant opponent, the 80-20 rule is don't turn your back. It's never a good idea to turn your back because if I'm in here and he grabs my wrist, this movement can be like this. See, I pull my hand out, boom, wait, and hit. Okay, that's the normal application. I go there, 1, 2, or there, pull out, 1, 2, and I can start to throw. It's never a safe thing to turn your back on your opponent because he'll grab you and choke you. And if he's Scotty, he'll beat you up. Okay, so he grabs my hand, I turn to do something, before you know Scotty grabs me. But it's an interesting thing. That high elbow can either work as an elbow or to prevent them from grabbing you. So I'm in here, I come in, he goes to grab me, boom, see that? He can't get the grab, but I can get the elbow. Okay, and it works a treat. So once again, I'm in here, I take my hand out, but I fall forward. I almost do that with my feet. Come back. Watch my feet. Even though in the car when you turn like this, it never hurts to pull the foot first because that'll send me driving forward with power in my elbow. It's a real knockout blow. It's like on back. Remember that movie with the Muay Thai guy? That had some great spinning elbows, and the way he would set his weight up, instead of just stepping forward to do it, he would take his weight, boom, and fall into it. and commit his whole body weight. So, 1, 2. I want to go 1, 2, step out, 3. If you want, you can do that. Again, 1, 2. If he tries to grab you, that arm is in the way. This arm's in the way, and then you can slide back and hit with the second elbow and come out of range. That works quite well too. But in the kata, you're turning and you're finishing with a turn. Well, whenever there's a turn, you always got to look for a throw. So where I like to say, where there's a twirl, there's a hurl. Where there's a twirl, there's a hurl. So where there's a turn, there's a throw. So he comes in. As I turn, hit there, and then what you can do is bring this hand over here. 1, 2, 3. And then from there, finish there like that. Different types of throws, different objectives determine the throw. If you really just want to throw someone, and we're kind of jumping ahead here into the next technique, well then I can throw them to the ground and finish them. But if you want to control someone, exactly the same movement, look, except now all I do is I take my leg away. Yeah, like that. So I've ended up in like a kesagatame position by falling into it, not by throwing. I'm not sure what the best angle, maybe that's the best angle. I come here, through, and look, I just take my leg out of the way. That hand will stop you from him holding the momentum and pulling you over. So hold there, pull me over. Well, that can happen if you're not in control. So as you go down, post, and then come back. Post, come back. Okay, that's jumping a little ahead, but it's the same principle there. Come through, grab my wrist. Here's another really good technique, which you may laugh, but I can tell you, sneakiness is the art of fighting, and this is very, very sneaky. Okay, so he grabs my hand, I spin, hit with an elbow, slap the ground, and then grab his leg, and then boom, finish with a groin shot. Look what I do with the toes. 1, 2, dislocate his ankle. Now, if you can dislocate an ankle or a knee, even from there, you can fall back and knee bar him as well. If you can break a knee or an ankle, you don't kill them, but you certainly give yourself time to get away. And when you go to the police, you go, yeah, he's really mean. And by the way, he's got a broken ankle. Well, the first 2 steps in yellow belt kata is enough for a 2-hour seminar. Yeah, look, Torbjörn, I love this kata. There's so much in it. And that's what it deserves. See Torbjörn's comment there, spend 2 hours, doesn't have to be a seminar, but you spend 2 hours with your training partners pulling apart just those movements. What does Bunkai mean? Bunkai, we know, means to compartmentalize, to break down. So you break down certain techniques out of that kata and you work on that, even just for 1 or 2 techniques, that initial movement. And I have to say, remember all 5 kata, Pinan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, created by itosu Anko, based on a number of kata, including kushanku or kanku kata, as we know it. So there's a lot of similarity. The first movement in kata number 1. The first movement in kata number 2, 2 hands together. First movement, kata number 3. Look, 2 hands together. First movement, kata number 4, 2 hands together. First movement, kata number 5. They're all pretty well the same. It's just, if you free your mind up, you realize the difference between that, and this are virtually, it's nothing. Especially when you think of in terms of the principle of keeping the hands together. Kata 2, look, the hands come up together. Boom. Kata 3, hands come up together. Kata 4, hands come up together. Kata 5, hands come up together. And you follow on. So they're just we call it a Beethoven. They're variations of a single theme. Okay. Now, getting to that next part of the kata, this one here, which we've gone over. So I use the momentum of my leg to drop my weight. And that can be really good if they grab you. I'll use Scotty. If they grab you, I can use that momentum to get power. If he grabs really, and the problem with grabbing really strong on a demo is it hurts like nuts, doesn't it? It really hurts your fingers when they break the grip properly. So that's why Scotty's kind of going soft, because what do? You know, thanks, Shihan, I've got 4 broken fingers. You're a really nice guy. Okay, so you tend to soften up a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, boom, you use that power there. There's a technique in the kata. Boom. They say, I've heard various translations of it. You know, it's you can hit someone with if it works, use it. But more to the point is, how does it work? Is it a strike or a grab? Well, this one's against a grab. I use momentum because sometimes you just can't get the grip off. And so what you need is you use momentum, or like that, and then you hit with an elbow, and you continue there. But we can use that momentum now, turn that block into a lock and throw. So how do I do that? So I'm here like this. I initiate. The best way to break a grip is what? Grab me? Yeah, don't let it happen. If he grabs me, I'm already a beat behind. What I need to do is break it before he grabs me, and then initiate. Watch what I do. The leg coming past gives me momentum. I've got to play with the angle to try and see which way works best. So I'm here, he grabs me, boom. 1, 2, and I finish up in this position. Okay? I don't hang around, obviously, because if he can get my gi, if he can get his thumb in my gi, even if I throw him, I'm in trouble. Okay? So what I need to do is be quick, and that's why that initial leg drive is so important, because the hidden technique is, as I come through, that forearm jolt on the carotid sinus will take his memory, will take his consciousness for a split second, which is enough to make him miss the grab. It's one thing to grab, it's another thing to get that forearm jolt. It's not Scotty loves it with a big smile on his face. Okay? So you have to remember that. It's not just coming up and grabbing. It's coming up and trying to knock him out with your forearm, with your bicep. Boom. And that's enough to get the hip around. Now remember, for this to work, look, see half my butt is sticking out. If I'm square and I throw, he'll walk around it. He'll walk around it and I'll miss the throw. And in fact, if he walks around it, he can pick me up and throw me from there in various ways. So what I have to make sure I do is make sure my hip goes all the way through so that one of my buttocks is sticking out past his thigh. And then I come from there, follow the line of my thumb, extend my legs. I take him to the ground, but I stay up. Boom, boom, lock, elbow, etc. Okay? So that's that movement. This one here, 1, 2, 3. I'm using that as a throw. He comes in to grab me. 1, 2, 3. And I finish in control on top. The last technique, the last flow that we look at, which comes down, 1 here, is that right? 2, 3. Okay. There we go. 1, 2, 3. You can jump high if you want, if you're young and strong. As you get older, protect your knees. And if you're on jigsaw mats, doubly protect the knees. Okay, so what we do is we've come down, we've finished the last one of these. We step through. 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, so what we're doing there is I've stepped through and then I'm coming up there. Now this can be a punch, okay? I know of one guy that made that work really well in a situation because ironically it forces it to be a snap punch. You can't drive it in. it's short, so it becomes a very explosive punch. It'll be quite effective. So I'm here. Let's turn around here. So I'm here. Step in. You can hit and hit. Hit, hit. See, like that? The first hand, I've gone, finished here, punch there, hit, hit. There, like that. Or, because there's a turn in it, there's the throw that I did before. So I've finished here. Bang, bang. Step in. One. Hit, hit. Come back and hit, or you can hit 3 times. 1. In the kata, you actually go 2. Okay, you can continue there and do the throw this way, or you can go 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. And then bring the arm down and start to. Remember, you have to keep the arms high, because if I step in and I hit and I miss, he grabs me, I'm in trouble. Okay, so what I need to keep in mind is I'm hitting and the arm stays up. So that elbow actually becomes, it's a strike, but as well as it prevents him from being able to get a good grip. So he grabs me now, he has no grip there. So that's a really important point when you turn your back, is how do I protect my neck? So if someone's behind you, that's too late. See that? So if someone's behind you, the first thing you do is you put your telephone to your ear. And I'm like that. Now you might say, well, what comes the other side? Well, that's okay. As long as I still have this hand here, he can't connect the two, so it's very hard for him to finish the block. See that hand there? Like a telephone call. And then that allows me. If he can't, even if he connects his hands there, connect your hands, start to squeeze. If this hand is here, it's like a cock's comb. Boom, and I can get it out. So always keep the arms high even when you're grappling, someone gets your back, just keep your hands like this. Constantly protecting your neck, making it hard. You get your shoulder on your head like that. Okay, so I'm here, step through, 1, 2, see that? And then spin back. You can step back there and finish this way too. Again, so I've gone 1, 2, step in. There, like that. And of course, if you're 20 years younger, you do it 3 times as fast. So there are some ideas that you can play with in Pinan 3. Okay, so remember, where there's a turn, there's a possibility for a throw. Work the 5 ranges, move in, and keep moving in. Okay, and take them towards the ground. Patreon family, thank you very much. I've been going through some interesting ropes lately, and honestly, Patreon has really been a big help, because I haven't worked in my job since December 2019. So it's nearly 1.5 years. But anyway, look, that's my take on experimenting with Bunkai and Pinan 3. If you got any comments, put them now. We can discuss it a little bit. I hope you got something out of that. The most important thing to remember is that all Matus isn't my Bunkai. Well, everything. That's a really interesting question. I have to say, predominantly yes. But as you go through the years, of course, you mix with people and you see their viewpoints, and quite often that becomes quite influential. Off the top of my head, I don't know too much. I mean, some of that is quite common. The spin elbow, obviously, it's very common. The double spin elbow is quite common. There's a beautiful Shotokan instructor named Naka Tatsuya. You go and check his stuff out. Really, really lovely stuff. I watch him because I'm really impressed by his dynamism. But the techniques that he does, they're really, really good techniques. Don't get me wrong. But I haven't seen anything that I haven't seen before. I guess the hip throw, that's mine. Training's a collaborative effort. I'm having a little trouble answering your question. Is it my Bunkai? Look, I've been very blessed. I've been influenced greatly. But yes, I would say most of it is my Bunkai. Yeah, Nakatatsuya. That's it, Vinny. He's really, really good. He's got some great stuff. My main coach, Ramji Prasad Bajracharya, was left COVID before too. He passed away from COVID. I'm very sorry to hear that, Rajkumar. My condolences. Nakatatsuya, yes, that double elbow, he does that double elbow. I did the one elbow, but I got that double elbow by watching Nakatatsuya. That's the only thing that I see that that he's done. Everything else is sosai, whack, sosai, koken, tetsui, knife hand, wanto, tetsui, back uraken. That's all sosai stuff as well. But the fact of the matter is, I think, when people get to a certain point and you've got a half realistic view of training, well, then you'll find a lot of convergence. Okay, it's like religion. Every religion at the beginning is completely different, and mine's better than yours, and yours is different to mine. But, whether the saint is from Buddhism or Christianity or Hinduism, all the saints experience the same thing. Of course, I don't think Bunkai belongs to anyone. It's your natural reaction to things that are happening. Very good. That's exactly true. I'm late again. Down for 1 million push-ups, Tommy. But anyway, look, thank you very much, Scotty. Good to see you, man.
Thank you.
Scotty takes his time out, finishes work, a long day of work, comes and trains with me here, and then we off at training again at 6 o'clock. So in a couple of hours, we're back at training again at the dojo. I hope you got something out of that. The most important thing to remember is, but it's also taught a lot of Bunkai, and he was very adamant about, most of his explanations in his book are Bunkai explanations. 5 ranges, each range trumps the range before it. Keep moving in, don't move out, shut them down. Movement back is defensive, movement forward is attack. Where there's a twirl, there's a hurl. Where there's 2 hands together, you're breaking balance. A block is a lock, is a blow, is a throw. So there you go. That's all you need to know. And then the rest is just experimenting. Remember the acronym TAAR. Okay, you got to test it. You've got to assess it. Test it, assess it, adjust it, and reassess it. Test, assess, adjust, reassess. That's really valuable. And you get together, and like Shihan Torbjörn said, you can spend 2 hours on 2 movements. Don't be surprised. It's nothing to do that. Thank you very much. Freddie says hi. Hey, Freddie. Christian. See Chris Dunn, his son, Freddie. He won a Australian Kata championship on the weekend. Just a young lad. He won his division, and he came 3rd in the Kumite as well. So good on you, Freddie. Christian's my nephew, as you regulars will know. Very proud, and I was up there for the tournament. That's why I missed last Friday, because I was up at the tournament the Whitsundays. Arigato gozaimashita. Good on you, Vinny. Paul, good. Dankeschön. Thanks, Scotty. Damn, you're popular, man. Okay, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Us.